I want to say also to the sisters and brothers that are watching us live on worldwide internet, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever time it is that you're watching. But here, it is always good to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. Now, we're going to get right into this lesson, sisters and brothers. This is our second leg of Black History Told by the Prophets. Part 2, Slavery. Black History Told by the Prophets. Part 2, Slavery. As I always say, I don't like the term black history because when somebody else says white history, Latino history, then all of a sudden we want to take issue with it. But being that we have this, we may as well make use of it. Now this, sisters and brothers, is talking about Israel, and because the Lord, everything that ever happened to Israel as a people, the Lord wrote it down. Because first thing he did, he told you what he wants you to do and the rewards of it, and he told you what he didn't want you to do and the consequences of it. So we're going to start this, sisters and brothers, in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. Because the Lord had me put this together years ago because I always took issue with a black history that I can only chase back to the slave ship. So I knew that we could not have been a people born on a slave ship. And we had to have come from somewhere before we ended up on the ship in the first place. And you can go back and look at other people. They can run their lineages all the way back. Everybody talk about the old country. It's just like the Polish talk about Poland. German talk about Germany. Russian talk about Russia. And you can't even talk about what family you came off on the African continent. Because just like everybody have a family on somebody's continent, we have a family too, sisters and brothers. But everybody have their history. And they have told their history, but nobody's told your history. You say it's not important, and people say it is not important. Look, when you tell the people that they came from no place, and they're going no place, then they don't feel they have much value. That's why young people are crazy in the streets, killing one another and doing everything they can. That's why we don't have no cohesiveness as a people, because we are like a water lily. We have no roots. And if we have any, nobody's told us about it. So if everybody's telling you their story, it's time for us to tell our story. They call that history. We're going to start this in the 28th chapter of Deuteronomy. This is when the Lord brought Israel out of Egypt. He laid down the ground rules even before we got to the promised land. And he made it very clear what would happen to us. And all you have to do, you don't even have to know who us is. All you have to do is look at what happened to this people, and I guarantee you, you will come up with us. I heard about it, but when I got to reading this stuff, sister and brother, I started to see and understand it. And we're going to get off into 28 and verse 1. 28 and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe.
Hold on. The mic is not on. We're having too much pH problem here, and I'm struggling with being irritated. Now give us a mic that can work. So I don't want y'all to think that we have a mic problem because we cheap. We spend thousands of dollars on this equipment.
Check.
And we should not have this kind of problem. But I'm going to suffer with it. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, let's 28 and 1. Deuteronomy the 28th chapter and verse 1. Okay, go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Now the Lord's telling Israel this. He just got Israel out of great captivity, which is Egypt. And then he brought them into the wilderness and he laid down the ground rule. So if you hearken unto all I say and keep all of my commandments, so I'm going to put you above all the nations of the earth. That means that's a voted position, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
3. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field.
Go ahead.
Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
So you're going to be blessed wherever you are. If you're in the city, you're going to be blessed. If you're in the field, you're going to be blessed. The fruit of your body are your children. They're going to be blessed. And your livestock or whatever you involved in, the Lord said you're going to be blessed. If you diligently listen to him and keep his commandments.
Yes, sir.
Skip down to verse 12. Verse 12 and go ahead.
The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto thy land in this season,
go ahead.
and to bless all the works of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow.
He said he's going to bless you, he's going to open up the heavens and give you all kind of blessings. And you're going to be the financiers and the bankers, because you're going to lend to all other nations, but you as a people are not going to have to borrow from nobody. This is a great big thing that the Lord put on the table in front of our forefathers, sisters, and brothers. I mean, this is a big thing. He just said it just to say, well, just serve me because I'm God. He said, if you serve me, this is what I'm going to do for you. Verse 13, go ahead.
And the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail.
He's going to make you the head and not the tail. Go ahead.
And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day to observe and to do them.
Look what he said. You shall be above only. Sisters and brothers, think about it. Above only. No matter where you find yourself, you are the boss. No matter what environment you're in, you control it. No matter what the resources are, it all flows through you. I just want you to understand what we as a people have given up. Nobody took it from us. We gave it up.
That is right.
Skip down to verse 15 and go ahead.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, then all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, this is the other shoe that's dropped now. But if you refuse to do what I say and to keep the commandments which I command this day, all these curses are going to come upon you. See, God ain't no secret God. He lets you know exactly what the logistics are. So you will be able to make a reasonable assessment of the condition that you're about to put yourself in. Go ahead and read.
16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Go to the city, you're going to be cursed. If you're in the field or country, you're going to be cursed. Go ahead and read.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
And so, in other words, he reversed that. You're going to be cursed in the city. You're going to be cursed in the country. All of whatever you try to do is going to be cursed. Your children are going to be cursed. I mean, sisters and brothers, the Lord laid this thing on the line. And somebody should have paid attention. Skip down to verse 25 and go ahead.
The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
So the Lord is going to bring people on you, and you're going to go out to try and fight, and you're going to flee 7 ways, and you shall be removed. Not migrated.
Yes.
In other words, to be removed, somebody else is taking you wherever you find yourself. Into all the nations of the earth, sisters and brothers. So there ain't no big secret of what's going on here. Skip down to verse 28. Verse 28 and go ahead.
The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Ain't that something? He said you're going to be smit with madness. You upset at everything. and blindness. You don't know what to do. And you're going to grope at noonday. You know what groping means? You don't know what to do, where to go, just like being locked in a dark room and you don't even know what a door is. No matter what you do, don't work. You sit in, that don't work. You demonstrate, that don't work. You shake the fist and holler black power, that don't work.
Teach.
Then you come in and you beg and plead and humble. That don't work.
Teach.
No matter what you do, he says it's not going to work. And this is something that God put on us before we even got to the promised land. What verse?
We at 30.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt betroth the wife, and another man shall lie with her.
That was one of the big things, in slavery. It ain't talking about now. Some of the day going to come when you going to have a wife. You're going to marry your woman, but somebody else going to lay with her. And you can't do nothing. The master did that all the time.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
You're going to build houses, but you're going to have to sleep in the barn or in a shanty. Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
You are the croppers. You doing all the crop raising. You planting the seed, and you picking it. You doing everything need to be done, but somebody else is reaping the proceeds.
Make it plain.
All you got to do, sisters and brothers, look around. Go ahead.
We at 30. Skip down.
When we're at 30, skip down to 36 and go ahead.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king which thou shalt set over thee unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone.
He said they're going to take you to the nation. What nation? All the nations over the world. Which you nor your father have known. And you're going to serve pagan gods. All these pagan gods that's coming, these was wood and stones once upon a time. Now they've spiritualized them. Yes. And they've put Christ on them. And all of a sudden they're beautiful now. Our fathers didn't know nothing about that.
No, sir.
Our fathers didn't know nothing about Easter, about Christmas. Nobody even thought for a minute that we was going to go to heaven. Israel always knew that the kingdom was going to be here. But we come, and these other people has taught us the doctrine of their God. So we stuck with it until we started to open our eyes up. What verse is that?
37 yet.
Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee.
You know what an astonishment is? Everybody look at, they always astounded at your condition. What's wrong with these people?
Yes, sir.
You're a byword. That means they're going to plant all kind of little weird names on you. We ain't going to have to go through it. But nobody would ever call you Israel, and all the countries where the Lord's going to send you, He's going to lead you. No matter where it is, your condition don't change. That's like we showed last week was written with the Ethiopians, what they did to the Philistines over here. They put them in jail. They closed their schools down. They killed them. They cut the hands off the babies. They did all kind of ugly stuff to us, and we the same color. Got nothing to do with color, sisters and brothers. This is one of the mistakes that the Israelites in this country made. Oh, the white man, the white man. I tell you something. If I had to choose between Ethiopia
yes,
and Nigeria and America, I'd choose America every time. Because them Hamites did some real damage to us. That's why the Lord got some ugly stuff in there on them. What verse are we?
We at 41.
Go ahead and read.
Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, but they shall go into captivity.
Now, and that's what happened. Had sons and daughters, you couldn't join because they are in slavery. And even right now, you can't control them because if you whip one, they call DCFS on you.
Sure enough.
And they come in and tell you how to raise your children so they can raise them up to become a commodity in jail.
Teach.
Or in the graveyard. He said, but you ain't going to be able to enjoy them because they're going into captivity. 43, go ahead.
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
Look, sisters and brothers. He didn't name nobody. He said a stranger. When Israel come out of Egypt, it was a mixed multitude. That means there was a whole lot of people among you. So that stranger that's within you, he going to come up very high. Go ahead and read.
And thou shalt come down very low.
And you going to come down very low. Go ahead.
He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
Go ahead.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
Look, sisters and brothers, look at everybody that's in our communities. We are the only community where all our merchants looks like somebody else.
Yes, sir. Make it plain.
Chinese clean your fingernails and feeding you Chinese food with shrimps and stuff that you ain't supposed to eat.
Teach Israel.
Japanese selling you cars. Arabs selling you bad meat. Then the Koreans done cornered the market and you his only customer with all that hair. Don't nobody sell you nothing in your community and prosper that looks like you. You know why? Because that strangers come up very high. What stranger? Everybody. Like I make the observation, like when the Mexican come up from Mexico, they run around with old raggedy lawnmower, cutting your grass. You feel all big. Then he lay up, roll up with a truck, go in the back of the truck and ride off with one. You ain't paying no attention that he is prospering and you are going down. Next time you see rehab going on in your community, sisters and brothers, see who it is that's doing it.
Make it plain.
You the only people that everybody that serve you, I take that back, everybody that prospers off you, look like somebody else. What verse are we?
45.
Go ahead.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee.
Look, sisters and brothers, he said they're going to follow you. They're going to overtake you. That's why people get, the neighborhood get bad, I'm moving out. So what? Them curses going to walk right on in there behind. There is no escape, sisters and brothers. You got to understand this. I am serious. Well, I think I'm going to go to Country Club Hills. What's going on out there now?
Same thing. Make it plain.
Because some drummer went out in this community. Brother said to me this morning, man, I'll be glad we get out of here. I said, so where do you think we going when we leave here? Here come them curses. You know why? Because the Lord sent them behind you. Because he gave you an option. And you chose the wrong one. What verse are we?
46.
Go ahead and read.
And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever.
Now, you know what a sign is? That identifies, don't it? A sign and a wonder upon your seed forever. And wonder why this is happening to these people. We know what's happening. A lot of my Israelite brothers don't know what happened, but I know what happened because I read the book. But it says sign. Okay, what is a sign? Something that identifies. All you got to do is look at this entire hemisphere. From the Virgin Islands to Belize to Panama to the Bahamas, Jamaica. Look at all the people that look like us and see how they got here as slaves. How did the other people get here? They migrated. That's why the Lord said you're going to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. Skip down to 64. 64 and read it.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there shalt thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
See, when you get there, you're going to serve pagan gods. Because you don't know about your God. And when somebody tell you about your God, you don't want to hear about it.
No, sir.
Skip down to verse 6 to 8 and read it. 6 to 8. Go ahead.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
See, he ain't talking about Egypt, the country. Egypt means the house of bondage to us. He already said he's going to take you into all the nations. That is your Egypt. He's going to bring you in by ships, and what's going to happen when you get there? Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
How did you get here? I mean, ain't nobody going to buy you out. Look, sisters and brothers, we got to see a picture of the ships. You see how you came here? You were stacked up like planks. You didn't have no lawn chair, no ease or nothing. You came like this. You see, this is a head, raw heads here, raw feet, raw heads, raw feet, and on and on and on. And once you got here, you were sold as male and female slaves. Who do you blame for that? We're talking about white. Well, no, you can't blame the white guy. He's not even here. So now we saw the blessing and we saw the curse. Let's see what fell on us. Let's go into Daniel, the 9th chapter. See, the whole thing, sisters and brothers, once you know what the truth is, then you know where the blame lies. And you stop putting the finger on people that don't deserve it. In fact, tell you the truth, if we had done what we were supposed to do, the whole world would be a paradise, a utopia right now. Because the Lord gave his word to Israel, and we're going to show you that. If we had done it right, it would have been right. Daniel 9, and we're going to start at verse 9. Daniel 9 and 9. Okay, go ahead.
To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness. Though we have rebelled against him.
And we have rebelled against him. Skip down to verse 11 and go ahead.
Yes, all Israel has transgressed thy law.
All Israel have transgressed your law. Go ahead and read.
Even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice.
Go ahead.
Therefore the curse is poured upon us.
What is that? Go ahead.
And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
So he said, now, all of us are sin. We refuse to obey his law. Therefore, the curse is poured upon us. Even the oath that he told us that he's got through reading in the right of Moses. So whose fault is it that we are in this trouble? Our fault. Now, how am I going to turn around and lay this? I don't even let Ethiopians treat us bad. Nigerians treat us bad. In fact, all them Hamites has always treated us bad. Our first big captain was Hamites, Egypt. Egypt is the only one, sisters and brothers, that we can't blame ourselves on. You understand what I'm saying? But after we come out of Egypt, everything that happened from then is on us. Brother tell me, well, you know, got this white man. He is going to make a debt that he got to pay because of you.
Make it plain.
So, all you got to do is look at the evidence. Who is it that is in this entire hemisphere that's brought a slave? You can't deny it and can't nobody else deny it. Let's go into Isaiah the 5th chapter. Isaiah the 5th chapter. Because there's a reason for everything, sisters and brothers. And I'm going to tell you something. We didn't do it because we didn't want to keep God's commandments, and we have not changed. Now you got the churches teaching you don't have to keep that old law. That's why the Lord told you your honorable men are going to be famished. They don't have a clue what's going on. And you sit up there every day listening to something, and you don't have a clue. Or you go to church to have a good time. Oh, we had a good time. But the Lord told you about this. Let's start at verse 11. Isaiah 5 and 11. Okay, go ahead.
Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they might follow strong drink, that continue until night till wine inflame them. And the harp, and the viol, and the tabret, and pipe, and wine are in their feasts.
Now that whole thing, you think that stopped? They even go to church. Music playing, boom, 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 everybody jumping up and down and waving their hand. But ain't nobody learning nothing.
Nothing.
Look what he said. Harps in their feet. Go ahead and read.
But they regard not the work of the Lord.
But they regard not the work of the Lord, not even the simple Sabbath day. Because they're holding service on the first day of the week instead of the seventh. Go ahead and read.
Neither consider the operation of his hands.
They ain't paying no attention. Go ahead and read.
Therefore, my people are gone into captivity because they have no knowledge.
So therefore, my people have gone into captivity because they have no knowledge. And you go to church, they treat you like you ain't, like knowledge is a plague. You're supposed to just feel good. The Lord is blessing. You in church and the Lord blessing you, and your children, your daughter's prostituting in the streets, your son shooting up one another, your grandson high on dope. Where's the blessing? Even animals get their children and set their offsprings up to do better than they do. At least it's good.
That's right.
Where your blessing at? Go ahead and read.
The middle of 13. And their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst.
He said, and your honorable men are famished. And the multitudes are dried up with thirst. What's it mean, famine? That means they ain't got no knowledge. They ain't got enough sense to go back and read in the Bible and see what the Lord said. Even my covenant is founded on the 10 Commandments. And they're going to tell you you don't have to keep them. They can't even understand plain English when he said, these are the beasts you shall eat, and these are the beasts you shall not eat. They're going to tell you all you got to do is pray.
That's what they say.
Well, Sunday is the Christian Sabbath day because Christ died on Good Friday and rose Easter Sunday morning. These are guys with degrees in theology, and you can't even do simple primer math. Because the Lord said he's going to be in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. And you think they ain't famished? So if your leaders are dumb, what do you think you are?
Teach.
What verse are we?
14.
Go ahead and read.
Therefore hell has enlarged herself.
Therefore hell have enlarged herself. Go ahead.
And opened her mouth without measure. And their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoices shall descend into it.
So when he talking about hell, hell is a state of condition. That don't even mess you up with that. Every time you hear hell, you think about a little red guy with horns barbecuing people. Hell is a state of condition. Therefore, hell have enlarged yourself without number. You can't even sleep at night without all kind of bars and stuff on your house. You scared to walk in your own neighborhood or sit on your own porch when the sun go down.
Teach.
You're working every day, but you can't pay your rent. That's if you want to eat. Your children are in trouble. And everything around you just seem to be going down. It is hell. And all your pomp and your glory, well, we dress and we walk like dignitaries. Best dressed, we strut. But we as a people are messed up. We broke. Because God said, if you do not obey me, I'm going to do this. You talk all you want. People tell me accentuate the positive. I said, what's positive? I see one brother doing well. I see 15 in trouble.
That's right.
If somebody started to point out all these sores, maybe we as a people can say, wait a minute. The Lord will bless you even during captivity. And he said, because he said he'd be a little sanctuary to you. But he ain't going to do it if you ain't going to keep his law. So hell haven't launched itself. Let's go and look at a love story because the Lord have loved this people. Let's go into Songs of Solomon. Songs of Solomon, the first chapter. Your sisters and brothers, the Lord set this thing out, and he wanted us to understand it. He wanted us to know how much he loved this people. But you're going to have to obey him. He told you to abide in his love. He asked him, how do you do that? By keeping his commandment. If you keep my commandment, you will abide in my love. But if you don't keep his commandments, sisters and brothers, this guy will hurt you. All you got to do is look at yourself. How can one people have all these problems? Think about it. We got all kind of problems. Most likely to be killed is a young brother. Well, get to the point, young sister now. Songs of Solomon, first chapter, and we're going to read verse 1. And we're going to skip 1 and 1. Go ahead.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon. This is Solomon talking, sister and brother, but Solomon, this is somebody talking about the mouth of Solomon. We're going to show you this. So skip down to verse 5. We're going to get to it. Go ahead.
I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem.
See, they tell you that this is one of them strange women that Solomon messed with. No! We're going to show you this is the Lord. He is trying to appeal to this people. He's, I'm black, but I'm comely, O daughters of Jerusalem. Go ahead and read.
As the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
Go ahead.
Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me.
You ever seen the sun turn anybody black? They stayed long enough to turn black, they dead, ain't they? So he just used that as a metaphor.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyard.
He said, my mother's children was angry with me. Put your marker here. We're going to go out because we're going to find out who this is that's got their mother's children angry. We're going to come back to it. So let's go into the 6th and 9th chapter of Psalm. Sometimes you have to run things to come up with the solution. Psalm 6 and 9. And we're going to start reading at verse 6. Psalm chapter 6 and 9 and verse 6. I'm not used to having one of my hands tied down. But we're going to get through it. And hopefully they have this fixed before the second class. Verse 6, go ahead.
Let not them that wait on thee, O Lord, O God of hosts, be ashamed for my sake.
Look, this is the Lord speaking by the mouth of David, and we're going to show you. Because David told you that the Spirit of God spoke by him. He said, so let not them that wait on thee be ashamed for my sake. Not for their sake, for my sake. Go ahead and read.
Let not those that seek thee be confounded for my sake, O God of Israel.
And those that seek thee, don't let them be confounded for my sake. This is Jesus talking to the Father by the mouth of David. We're going to show you this. Go ahead and read.
7. Because for thy sake I have borne reproach.
Because for your sake I have borne reproach. That means he came and he died for the people. Go ahead and read.
Shame has covered my face. I am become a stranger unto my brethren and an alien unto my mother's children.
He says, shame has covered my face. I'm a stranger and an alien to my brothers and my mother's children. It was Israel that had Jesus killed.
That's right.
This is what people don't understand. Even when Pontius Pilate was trying to let him off.
Yeah, he was.
He tried everything to let Jesus off. Even let a murderer put him up. Now, I know they ain't going to choose this murderer over Jesus. They said about Jesus crucified.
Yes, sir.
He said, so for your sake, I have suffered reproach. Go ahead and read.
9. For the zeal of thine house has eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach thee are fallen upon me.
He said, for the zeal of your house have eaten me up, and the reproaches of them that reproach me, thee have fallen on me. In other words, the sins that these people committed, I'm the one that is the scapegoat. But let's go and show you what I'm talking about. Let's go into Romans the 15th chapter. Romans the 15th chapter. That's why, see, this is one of the reasons, too, why a lot of my Israelite brothers couldn't come to good understanding, because they kicked on this new book, not realizing that this whole Bible was written by Israelites. And most of it come from one source. I know, I won't call it. But you get one man can paralyze a whole lot of men if they don't read. You got to be able to read, sisters and brothers. Romans the 15th chapter, verse 1, read it.
We then that are strong ought to bear the infirmities of the weak, and not to please ourselves.
So we're supposed to bear the infirmities of the weak. Because who did it? Skip down to verse 3. Verse 3 and go ahead.
For even Christ pleased not himself, but as it is written, the reproaches of them that reproach thee fell on me.
Ain't this what we just got to read? So Jesus didn't come to please himself. He came to die for the sins of the people.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't nobody else clean enough to die for the sins of the people, and the Father required a sin offering because he had it written, the wages of sin is death.
Yes.
So he said, look, the debt that you have made with the Father have fallen on me. I got to pay.
Yes, sir.
But this is the same one that said, my mother's children were black. Was angry with me. This is the same one that said I am black. But let's go back to Songs of Solomon. You should have your place there. I told you to hold it. We're going to read this. We're going to read this over again, but we're going to read the second half now of verse 6. Songs of Solomon. Let's start it back at the top of verse 6, and we're going to deal with the last part of it. Verse 6, go ahead.
Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun has looked upon me.
Go ahead.
My mother's children were angry with me.
My mother's children were angry with me. We just read that, didn't we? Go ahead and read.
They made me the keeper of the vineyard, but my own vineyard have I not kept.
He said, they made me the keeper of the vineyards and all the other vineyards, but my own vineyard have I not kept. Let's go and find out who this is talking about. Let's go into Isaiah the 5th chapter. Isaiah the 5th chapter. I heard uninformed people, oh, that love story between, that's Solomon, that Song of Solomon is one book of love story. That Solomon had a lot of lovers. They say it got nothing to do with Solomon and his love. Totally uninformed people. But then I don't lay that to their charge. You know why? Because we should have taught them. That's why we getting the biggest head whooping of anybody. Because we had a chance to do something about it. Verse 1, 5 and 1. Because this is a love story. Let's continue this love story. Go ahead and read.
Now will I sing to my well-beloved a song of my beloved touching his vineyard.
Now remember, I'm telling the one he said, look, my own vineyard is gone unkept. So I'm going to sing to my well-beloved touching his vineyard. Go ahead and read.
My well-beloved has a vineyard in a very fruitful hill. And he feasted and gathered out the stones thereof.
Go ahead.
And planted it with the choicest vine. And built a tower in the midst of it. And also made a winepress therein.
He's not, look, he did everything he's supposed to have in a vineyard. Outfitted it with everything that was right.
Yes, sir.
And what happened? Go ahead and read.
And he looked that it should bring forth grapes. And it brought forth wild grapes.
Wait a minute now. I gave the best seed. In other words, I brought this vineyard. And I planted it, and I put a fence around it so could nothing come in and hurt it. And I planted the best seeds in it. And I put a press in it. In other words, I gave them good teachers and good words. Right. Go ahead and read.
3. And now, O inhabitants of Jerusalem and men of Judah, judge, I pray you, between me and my vineyard.
Go ahead.
What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked at it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes?
He said, what could have been done more? It shouldn't have brought forth wild grapes. Go ahead and read.
And now go to. I will tell you what I will do to my vineyard. I will take away the heads thereof, and it shall be eaten up.
This is the Lord say he going to do it now. I'm going to take away the heads thereof, and it shall be eaten up. Go ahead and read.
And break down the wall thereof, and it shall be trodden down.
I'm going to break down the wall thereof, and it's going to be trodden down. Go ahead and read.
And I will lay it waste, and it shall not be pruned nor digged, but there shall come up briars and thorns. I will also command the clouds that they rain no rain upon it.
He said, I'm going to lay it waste. I'm going to do it. Ain't nothing but thorns and briars going to blow up on it. I ain't going to let no rain come up on it.
Teach.
I'm going to starve it. Go ahead and read.
7. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel.
Who is it?
The house of Israel.
That's who the vineyard of the Lord is. The house of Israel. Go ahead and read.
And the men of Judah, his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression. For righteousness, but behold, a cry.
Now that is the wild grapes. I brought this people out of bondage. I planted them in a good land.
Yes, sir.
I gave them good laws and good statutes. I beat out all their enemies from before them. And when I turned around and told them to keep my commandments, they were breaking every one of them.
Yes, sir.
He said, we agreed to this. We went into a covenant for this. I married this people.
Yeah, he did.
And they did everything wrong. So I'm going to break down the wall. I'm going to let everybody have at it. I mean, everybody. This vineyard is going to be dealt with by everybody. I ain't going to just let this be no one nation whoop them. I'm going to let the whole world whoop on this people. Let's go into Jeremiah the 2nd chapter. Jeremiah the 2nd chapter. That's why who you going to blame? How can a whole world hate the same people? Somebody need to think about it. No matter where you go, no matter what color of the people you are among, your position is the same. I sure wish they'd go somewhere else.
Make it plain.
Move into the neighborhood, they move out. And I don't blame them. Why should they have to deal with them curses that's going to follow you? You try to move out, but the only problem is you're the one that the curse is stuck to. Look what the Lord said about this, about us. Verse 14, 2 and 14. Read it.
Is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave?
Go ahead.
Why is he spoiled?
He said, now are you a servant, are you a homeborn slave? Then why are you spoiled? Because you wouldn't obey. Skip down to verse 20 and go ahead.
For of old time I have broken thy yoke and burst thy bands. And thou saidest, I will not transgress. Went upon every high hill and under every green tree thou wanderest, playing the harlot.
He said, now look, I broke your bond, and while you was telling me that you ain't going to break my laws, you was dealing with paganism. All the same time.
Yes, sir.
In other words, you talking to me and your lover's hitting in the room back there.
Make it plain, boy.
Like God ain't got no fire. I say it all the time. People act like God is stupid because they lie on it. Go ahead and read.
21. Yet I planted thee a noble vine, holy a right seed. How then art thou turned into the degenerate plant of a strange vine unto me?
Ain't that something? He said, I planted you a noble vine, a holy and right seed. How is it that you have become a degenerate plant that you are? You don't have no rules. You don't respect no rules. You don't respect no leadership. You don't respect nothing. And look what you did to the ones I sent to you. Skip down to verse 30. Verse 30. And go ahead.
In vain have I smitten your children. They receive no correction. Your own sword has devoured your prophets like a destroying lion.
He said, in vain have I smitten you. Israel was going to captivity and they beat you down. And then it gets so bad they holler and the Lord has compassion and bring you out of it. As soon as the leader he used to bring you out of it died, you went right back to where you were.
That is right. That is right.
He said, I'm beating you for nothing. This is the people that correction don't work on. And I sent you my prophets to tell you why you was getting beat so you would repent and stop getting beat and you kill them. We're going to come back to Jeremiah here. Put you a mark here. Let's go quickly into Luke, the 13th chapter. See, the whole thing, sisters and brothers, it's good to know who you are. But it's better to know why you are in the condition that you're in. Because we are people, we want to blame everybody. Verse 34. This is what Jesus said here. Verse 34. It lets you know he was around a long time. A long time. This is what people, so he ain't talking like a man that's just 33 years old. Go ahead and read.
Oh, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, which killeth the prophets and stonest them that are sent unto thee.
Go ahead.
How often would I have gathered thy children together, as a hen do gather her brood under her wings, and you would not?
He said, that's what he said. Jerusalem, Jerusalem, that killeth the prophet. That's our M.O. Love to kill the men of God. How often would I have gathered you like a mother hen gather her brood, but you would not be gathered? Because the Lord can't gather and bless you if you're going to keep breaking his law.
No, sir.
Go ahead and read.
35. Behold, your house is left unto you desolate. And verily I say unto you, you shall not see me until the time come when you shall say, blessed is he that cometh in the name of the Lord.
That's when Jesus come back, sisters and brothers. So until that time, your house is left unto you desolate. Now let's go back to Jeremiah. But we're going to start this time in the 13th chapter and the 12th chapter. Jeremiah, the 12th chapter. And we're going to start at verse 7. 12 and 7. Because it is your God, sisters and brothers, that put you where you are. It is your God that turned his back and let everybody have at you. So if you're going to blame anybody, blame your forefather. You'd be stupid to blame your God. But Israel is stupid. I hate to say it, but that's the way it is. Verse 7, go ahead.
I have forsaken mine house. I have left mine heritage. I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies.
Ain't that something? I have forsaken my house, he said. I have left my heritage. I have given my dearly beloved into the hands of our enemies. I mean, the whole world don't like you. You don't have sense enough to know it. The whole world. Go ahead and read.
Verse 8. Mine heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest. It cried out against me. Therefore have I hated it.
Oh, you know the God can't hate. What the book say here?
I hated it.
It's just like a lion in the forest. It cries out against me. Therefore I done hated this people. Go ahead and read.
Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about her are against her.
Go ahead.
Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour.
So she's like a speckled bird. All other birds around about her against her. No matter where you go, ain't nobody on your side. It's like a speckled bird. You know, you ain't black, you ain't white. You ain't yellow, you ain't green. You something with a lot of different colors of spectrum. Don't no bird want to deal with you. Don't no people want to deal with you.
Make it plain.
That's what the Lord said my people are to me. That's what will happen. Go ahead and read.
10. Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard.
Oh, who's destroyed his vineyard?
The pastors.
And they still doing it. And don't change. You're going to go tomorrow, Sunday, on the day of the sun worshipers, and get fed garbage in the name of the Lord.
Yes, sir.
It will not profit you. Therefore, it will destroy you. Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard. Go ahead and read.
They have trodden my portion underfoot. They have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness.
They done made him a desolate wilderness. They trodden underfoot. You know, so our country is desolate, and we are. Go ahead and read.
They have made it desolate, and being desolate is mourning unto me. The whole land is made desolate, because no man layeth it to heart.
So the whole land is made desolate, because no man has laid it to heart.
I've been looking, searching, trying to find the way to walk. Lord, I humble myself before thee.